Here's your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, the Franchise Guide.
So can you go into a little bit more on the training and maybe even touch on, the utilizing AI?
Yeah, well, like honestly, I spoke about it a bit before. What we do is a bit more complicated. So, like as a result, we overcompensate on training, right?
Right.
Because we want to make sure that people can actually execute. Once you get it, I mean, it doesn't stay complex. Like for us, it's easy now, right? But like there's a steeper learning curve. So, like on top of the hands-on training, we've got our internal social media. So, like we've got internal social media where rookies. We have a rookie channel, we have an all-company channel, we have a production channel, sales channel. People are asking questions to other franchisees. Honestly, it's an amazing community that we've built. We're almost 70 franchisees, and like the veterans are answering the rookies. I'm getting in there. People always joke, I love being on Viva Engage, which is our internal social media. I'm like literally there 5 times a day, just answering questions because I love to be able to answer a question that the whole system can see, right? And then what's even better about that is we've got an AI bot, so ChatGPT, basically API, that goes in and crawls all of that, including all of our training materials, including all of any webinar that we ever given. It goes through the transcripts so that a franchisee or their staff can literally ask it a question, and it's got all of the SprayNet knowledge. So it can answer a question 24/7. We're always in the back end there, seeing what questions are answered. If there's not a documentation, we supplement it. But it's crazy. Like it's answered over 1,000 questions this month alone. Like, and we're like, what, day 12? So like of staff, of franchisees. So like AI is just an amazing tool to supplement all the coaching that we can get.
I love that. Now and taking advantage, it's learning, and people, I'm sure a lot of people have the exact same questions, especially when they first start. So I love that. Switching gears a little bit. So you guys are originally based out of Canada. So this is more educational because I just received this question. So since you're based in Canada, I wanted to talk if you can just kind of briefly FDDs, franchise disclosure documents. We did a show with Houston Barnes a while back and how to review an FDD. But going back to since you are based in Canada, is there a separate FDD in Canada as you have in the US? And do they merge that information together? I guess if the audience doesn't know, can you explain the differences between the two?
Funnily enough, everything seems to be way more regulated in Canada, except for franchising. It's way in the US.
Oh, really?
So we actually, yeah, it's like it's actually way better structures because so many more franchises in the US. So basically, we start with our US FDD because that's the most stringent, and then we update our Canadian one. But like a US FDD needs to be updated every year. Canadian one doesn't necessarily. It just if there's a material change. So really, our source of truth, where the most information is actually in our US FDD.
And does that combine the data between the two, or does it keep it separate? So if you want to look at, Canadian number of Canadian franchisees, is that included in the US FDD?
So it's all outlined. So it is, it's not, you can look at it however you like. So the way that we do it in our item 19, which is where the numbers are shown. So I'm assuming you're referring a little bit to that. Now, the reason we do it that way is because most of our US franchises are new and our Canadian franchisees have been operating for longer. So we say, hey, here's what our new US franchisees are doing. Here's what our veterans are doing, just so that US franchisees can extrapolate in time what they could potentially be doing.
Gotcha.
What's cool actually is people always ask, well, yeah, but that's in Canadian dollars. Our average job size is actually higher in the US than it is in Canada. So we're not charging less in the US. We're charging dollar for dollar the same thing, actually a little bit higher. So the dollar amounts that they see in Canada are very easily, you can easily extrapolate that to create a sound business.
Wow. Okay. No, that's interesting. So I learned some stuff there. So I ask these questions for, to educate, but in the process, I learn as well. So that's awesome. A lot of exciting stuff. Got a new patent, but also, when we talk with candidates, people looking to explore different franchises, they look for differentiators, and there's a lot of great companies out there. They offer great products, great training, but it's like, how do we get the word out to the masses as far as national exposure? Talk to us a little bit about that, because I've seen you online and we've seen videos. I think you teamed up with some larger companies. Talk to us about maybe national accounts and just how you've gained some national exposure.
Yeah, so we actually are in Lowe's, which is amazing, right? Our franchisees get to have a kiosk in Lowe's. The Lowe's associates talk about our service. They sell our kitchen cabinet refinishing service. That's just one of the ways. I mean, I think like most franchisors, it's how do you leverage your brand fund? So brand fund, for those that are familiar with it, is you know, I think probably the best thing about being in a franchise is a brand fund, because everybody can kind of contribute a little bit to this big fund that goes a longer way that you couldn't be able to do on your own. So, you know, this year, for example, we're exploring HGTV, right? You know, if you're starting your own business by yourself, you may not be able to afford HGTV, but now if we've got this combined purchasing power, we can, right? And we could do a lot of really cool things with this brand fund. So really, I think utilizing the brand fund dollars to maximize exposure is probably, I guess, a responsibility of most franchisors. We're lucky we have a great team, and we're also lucky that we have a service that is somewhat sexy, right? Because it's different, because we got patents, because we got differentiators. It's a little bit easier for us to get influencers, a little bit easier for us to get exposure through PR. So, you know, I said I was fortunate before. I'm saying it again. The fact that we have something different really helps us with that exposure.
Right. I love that. Switching gears, this is just something relevant in the news today with everything going on. A big secret.
SprayNet support is impressive, but how does it stack up legally and financially across borders? In our next segment, we'll delve into the complexities of FDDs in Canada and the US and the surprising impact of tariffs.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn how to make the transition from corporate to owning your franchise, join Giuseppe on the next episode. You can also follow on all social media platforms and achieve financial and time freedom today.